Okay, folks, we're going to be doing a quick review on a basically an eBay DELL OptiPlex. This is one of those refurbs that you can get on eBay for like I don't know, 70 to 80 bucks. Now this is the 720. This is the 4th gen Haswell 720. It does have a i5 in it. I can't remember the i5 exactly what's in this, but it does have four USB 2 hookups in the front and 4 in the back, with 2 display hookups in the back as well. Comes with a I have no clue what type of video card it comes with, but it does come with 2 sticks of 4 gigabytes of RAM, which makes 8 gig. I've already looked in it. It doesn't come with an SSD. It does come with a hard drive with no OSI on it. So it doesn't have an operating system neither. So that's how you can kind of get these really cheap and build a gaming computer with it. It is pretty clean on the inside, so we don't really have to clean it. So it is a refurb. We will be installing an i7, I think 9750, and you can upgrade this to an i7 4770 as well on the motherboard. 4th gen Haswell. We're going to update it with 16 gigabytes of either 1600 DDR3 1600 RAM, or you can use 12800 U unbuffered RAM for this, for the speed. Either one you can use, or a mixture of that type of DDR3. We got a 528 gigabyte SSD with a 1 terabyte Western Digital hard drive we're going to be putting in there. It's a 2.5 hard drive, and we're going to be replacing the crappy video card that's in there now with a Radeon RX 550 OEM version for the tower. So you can get away with using this. This is DDR5. You want to use a DDR5, you can use that card, or you can use the big ass GT 1030 in this too as well if you want, or a 1060 Ti, or a RX 550, or a freaking RX 460. Pretty much any low profile graphics card will work in this 1660 Super as well. We're going to be replacing the power supply with an Antec 450 watt power supply, 450 watt power supply. And for this job as well, you will need a 24 to 8 pin adapter for the power supply, because this one doesn't support 24 pin a 24 pin socket on the motherboard. So we're going to upgrade the power supply on this with an Antec. Now if you want to know what model that is for the Antec, that is a 450 watt. I think it's an Antec VP 450. 450 watts is perfect for this. The power supply in this one is probably like a 290 watt. It's perfectly capable if you run like a 2 gigabyte or a 3 gigabyte graphics card in it without changing the power supply in it. And if you got one that has an external power on the side, you could use an adapter, a Molox adapter for that if you need to. Alright folks, let's tear this down and get into the build. Okay folks, we got the machine on its side here. I'm going to open up the side plate panel, which kind of came with a dent, but I guess that is, you get what you pay for. Let's see here. Now the first thing we're going to do with this, build, it comes with 2 4 gig sticks of memory already, which is HyperX. We're going to remove those and basically pull these out. Now these are both 4 gig sticks of RAM, which are perfectly good. I mean, you could resell them on eBay if you wanted to. We got another stick of Micron 4 gigabytes of RAM here. Got 2 sticks of this. The good thing about the 720 is it's perfectly upgradable to 32 gigabytes of memory, where the 9020s are only capable of 16 gigabytes of memory. Remove that. Stick the 2 new memory modules in here, sticker facing this way here. This is a DDR3, 1600 megahertz to 2800 megahertz of RAM. I'll leave a link in the description down there. You guys can get this. Now these are color coded. Usually you put the first one in this one here, and the second one in the other second slot right here. So we're gonna put one in this slot right here, and this could be tricky. So we're gonna put it in there, and we're gonna put the second stick in there as well with this to make it 16 gigabytes. We're gonna have to run a fresh install of Windows 10 on this anyways. The next thing we're gonna remove is the crappy video card that came pre-installed with this, with no OSI. There's no drivers that have been put on this yet. So we're gonna remove this graphics card right here. There's a little slot right here that you have to push in. Okay, we got it open. Just gotta push it open. Okay, we got it open. We're gonna remove the video card, which is a piece of shit, out of the 4th gen PCI slot. You have to lift up on this little blue tab here in the front, and it should just come right out. We lift that blue tab up. Okay, we removed it. We're going to install the RX 550 4 gigabyte graphics card, and we're going to install it here in the PCI lane. So we give it a lot more power for gaming. Let's see here. That's why you got to remove the power supply. You need at least a 400 base watt power supply for this GPU. And it should just go right inside there like that. Close that lane up. Closes back up. We got the RX 550 installed. Next, we're going to take off the GPU and replace the GPU with a i7 right here. Now we got the i7 right here. This is the as you can see, this is the i7 4790K. This is the highest power i7 that you could put in this computer. This is the most powerful i7 for the 4th gen computers in particular. For the Haswell design, you have the 4770K, and the i5 on this as well is a 405, some shit like that. This is an i5, but it's 4 cores. The i5 in this is 4 cores and 4 threads. This is 4 cores and 8 threads with a hyper threading and turbo boost clock of probably like 4.0, and it has like an 8 cache in it as well. I'm gonna put that in there. You will need a Phillips head screwdriver to take off the heatsink shroud and fan. You will need to remove the 4-pin head fan real quick to do this. You have to squeeze the front of it, I believe, in order to remove it. I can't get my fingers in there. My fingers are too small to get it out. Well, you know what? I might not even remove it. I'll just probably fucking remove the fan and then reinstall that on there. Now you want to take off these screws, offset screw them, unscrew it. And we're going to unset screw this right here. You have to do it side by side by side. You can't unscrew it all at once. We're going to take it off and until it comes off, and then we'll remove it when we get the fan off here. And you will need to reapply thermal paste to this when you do this afterwards. Okay, it's almost ready to come off. a little bit over here. Okay, there it goes. We're gonna put this over here. It does have somewhat, has old thermal paste on it. We're gonna have to remove that real quick. Let's see if I can remove the fan. No, it's not coming. I'll do more damage to it trying to take it out. I can't get it removed. If I try, I'm just gonna leave the fan in there. Fuck it. Take a paper towel, some rubbing alcohol. Usually you can pull the fan out. I've done it before. It's just not wanting to cooperate with me, and I don't want to damage the motherboard. So we're going to take some rubbing alcohol to this and do it away from the computer. Okay, we're going to take some rubbing alcohol right here and rubbing alcohol on the CPU cooler. Now the CPU cooler is fairly clean, so we don't need to really clean that per se. We're just going to remove the old crappy thermal paste on this, so we can get the you know, just clean it off with some alcohol in this rag. It'll do it pretty good. And we'll get it off of the CPU cooler. If it's really bad on there, you can take a credit card to it and take it off if you need to. We're not going to do that. We're just going to take this rubbing alcohol and just rub all the old crap off of it. It's an 8mm fan and CPU cooler. Get the stuff off of the old CPU as well. And we'll have to use the other side of the rag here and put some more alcohol on it. I know it's a little bit unorthodox. I can't get the CPU cooler off. If you did want to replace this CPU cooler with a different one, you will have to take the whole motherboard out and put a new back plate on it. To do that, we're just going to remove the thermal paste from the i5 and put the i7 in its place and have ourselves an i7 for decent gaming quality. Now, to remove the i7, you will have to, there's a little lever right here on the side that you have to pull straight out and open. And be very careful with the CPU once you take it out, and not bend any of the pins. It's as easy as that to take out. And was a i5, it's an i5 4590. It's got some good clock speeds. It's like 300.5 gigahertz. And we're going to replace it. Now when you replace this CPU, you want to have the arrow facing down when you return it. This one's already being cleaned, so we're going to clean the fingerprints off of it if there is any on there. The arrow must go down on the motherboard. It shows you an arrow right here on the motherboard, and you just lay it right in that socket. It should just lay right in there with ease. You don't have to like force it in there. It should just lay in there really nice. So you don't want to put no pressure on it, because if you put any pressure on that CPU, you can damage it. Now we're going to put this back into the socket like this and close it down. And basically there you go. That's how you replace the CPU in a DELL OptiPlex. Now the next step you will need for this build is some thermal paste. This is just some run-of-the-mill, average, cheapo thermal paste. Comes with this little like spatula. You can spatula it on there. You only need like a bead on here anyways. And we're gonna get like a bead's worth right here, and that's right there is probably really all you need for thermal paste on this. You just add it to the CPU. You can spread it around if you need to. If you need more, go ahead and put more on there. I don't think it needs any more than this, honestly. Like I said, I don't do this all the time, so I'm kind of rusty about putting thermal paste on there, so don't sue me. I think that is enough thermal paste for this. So we're going to stick the CPU cooler back on. Okay, CPU cooler goes on like this. And we're going to get this CPU cooler on here. Of course, we had a horrible mess. Okay. Line them up to the holes. Get one screw started. Get another screw started. Okay, now you don't want to tighten this down too tight. You just want to get it tight enough to where it seats. You don't want to break the motherboard. And we're going to put this one over here. You want to offset screw this. I think all four are set now. Once all four are set, you just offset screw it in. Like 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You just count how many times you turn. 1, 2. I don't think that even went in there. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And just offset screw this in, and it should be good to go. Don't want to screw it all the way in. You just want to, screw each one of these in individually until they're tight on the motherboard. You just want to make sure these screws are snug. You really don't want them too tight. So I think that's pretty good. Hopefully that didn't knock the fan out of whack or anything weird like that. Okay, there you go. CPU's back on with the CPU cooler with a new CPU. Next up is the power supply. How to replace the power supply on a DELL OptiPlex 7020, which is easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Show you how to do it. Okay, we got 16 gigabytes of RAM, i7, and we'll replace the power supply. The first thing you want to do with the power supply is remove the 8-pin connector right here. You got these little squeeze tabs. It should come out really easy. And you want to remove the 4-pin connector up here. There's a 4-pin connector right here that needs to be removed. And remove it. Ouch, damn, that hurt. We will need to remove the little metal deal here in order to get the power supply out of here. And you also need to remove this as well, I guess. 8-pin connector. Let's see, that is an 8-pin. It's a 4-pin connection. I think you just need to remove this 8-pin connector here and that 4-pin connector. I think it's just tied all up in here with the rest of it. Move this out of the way. And right here you have these two cables. This is basically all that powers the motherboard, pretty much. You remove that. There's some screws in the back you'll have to remove. There's 4 screws that need to be removed and then replaced when you replace the power supply. Here, I know you can't really see very well, but there's 4 screws here that need to be removed in order to remove the power supply. Remove these real quick. Good thing about these 7020s, you could put a full-size 450 watt or 500 watt power supply in them. Pull out the first screw, second screw. There's like 4 of them up here. Right here, right here, and right here, the mounting screws. I mean, as it sits, you could probably put a GT1030 in it to upgrade it if you want. Honestly, go with the RX 550. But we're gonna remove this power supply real quick, and 4 screws that hold it in. Don't lose any of these screws, because if you do, you won't be able to put your new power supply in here. Get this out of here, and your old power cord for this should work with your new power supply, so don't worry. 12-volt power supply. Got it. Now that we got it unscrewed, I just wanted to show this up close. There's a little tab in front you have to push in order to push the power supply forwards and out. Get that out of the way. We're going to push that little tab. You push it from behind. Push that little tab, and your power supply should come out fairly easy. Like that. There you go. There's your 200 crappy watt DELL power supply. And 290 watt power supply. And now we're going to put in the fabulous 450 watt ANTAC power supply. It's fairly easy. You just put it inside here like this and try to get it past the motherboard a bit. This can be a tedious process to try to get this power supply in here without it should fit in here, and boom, there you go. Once you do that, you screw it in the back and she should be ready to go. All the screws line up in the back here. Now it's good to have a magnetic screwdriver, which we don't, so you're gonna have to hold on to the screw if you don't got one of those. And screw. We'll make do with what we got here. And this is the last screw, and we're done. Now that that's done, we have to have the DELL OptiPlex 8-pin to 24-pin connector for the motherboard. We'll hook that up to the 8-pin connector on the motherboard, which goes right here. And we will these 8-pin connectors in here, 24 to 8-pin connector in here. Should just clip right on in, but it's not working for me. Let's see here, let me get it partially in here. That's it. Okay, we got that, and finally goes in, and there you go. It's hooked up to the power supply, and now that that's out of the way, we're gonna need one of these 4-pin connectors. We're gonna have to cut some of them loose of it if you want to use it. Okay, you only need one of these 4-pin connectors for this, so we're gonna put one of these 4-pin connectors, and we'll do some cable management later on with it. And there you go, as simple as that. And we got some cable management here to do. We'll put this over here like this, and we'll put this over here underneath here and under this metal piece here, and there you go. That is done and out of the way, sorta. Oops, we forgot about this one too. Now this we could put over here with the rest of these turds. It does come with new Molochs, so you could probably use these Molochs if you wanted to. But we're gonna put it all underneath here as cable management, which is You know, not the best cable management, but you know, let's get it out of the way right there so it ain't hitting the header fan. Put this down here as well. We're gonna put this over here with this. Okay, folks, there you go. That is the upgrade. You got 16 gigabytes of RAM. You got a new CPU, a new GPU, which is a graphics card, the RX 550, new power supply. That's how you do it. And hard drive. We got this SSD in here. It's kind of flopping around. Put some tape on it later so it doesn't move around that much. And on over here we got a 1 terabyte hard drive as well. That's how easy it is to upgrade a DELL OptiPlex 720. Hope you all like this video. Please hit the like, share, and subscribe if you do. And this has been your old pal Hondo from Hillbilly Tactical. Peace out. 16 gigabytes of RAM now instead of 8.